Good afternoon and good morning. Welcome to the Integrating Conga Composer with eSignature Solutions webinar. In this session, we'll be discussing the integration with Sertifi. This webinar is a part of our ongoing webinar series and is intended to introduce you to the capabilities of Conga Composer with Sertifi integration. I'm Teresa Bowerly, and I'll be your moderator for this session. Before we get started, let's do a little housekeeping. The entire webinar is slated to last for about 30 minutes, including a 5-minute Q&A at the end. We have a lot of registrants, so everyone's phones will be on mute. If you do have questions, please submit them online. Obviously, we won't get to all of your questions, but we'll answer as many as we can during the session. Any that we don't get to will be answered in an FAQ that we'll post to our knowledge base. This webinar is being recorded, and we'll make the recording available within a few days on our YouTube channel and in our knowledge base. So let's get started. I'm pleased to introduce Peter Terhune, who will be taking you through this session. Peter is the Director of Strategic Solutions here at Conga, and he's looking forward to taking you through this session. Peter?
Great. Thanks for the introduction, Teresa. Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to those of you who are joining us from Asia Pacific. Today's webinar, Integrating Conga Composer Solutions with Sertifi eSignature. For a quick agenda and overview of our focus today, we're going to talk a little bit about Conga Composer. I'm going to do a brief overview as well of Sertifi, then kind of go into the integration. How do these two applications work in tandem in order to create documents and then get signatures on those created documents? Part of that integration includes parameters and customizations to Conga Composer, so I'll cover those parameters that allow the two applications to work together. After that, we'll go into a little bit of a live demo and show both Conga and Sertifi inside the Salesforce environment, and then leave some few minutes at the end for some Q&A. So, an overview of Conga Composer. We are an enterprise-wide document generation solution for the Salesforce.com platform. Our application has been listed in the AppExchange Top 10 for over 6 years straight, and organizations are using our tool for a whole myriad of different solutions. But some of the more common use cases we hear of are contracts, proposals, invoices, quotes, account plans, reporting and report exports, as well as some pretty advanced presentation tips and tricks inside PowerPoint. Our application can merge to Microsoft Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF forms, HTML email, and really provide you a lot of functionality with regards to reporting and different queries from Salesforce.com. When you're really interested in adding some horsepower to our solution, we also have some batch automation tools as well as workflow. And as always, we include a 30-day trial directly from the AppExchange, so you're free to engage with us with no obligation. Sertifi is an electronic signature platform for Salesforce.com. They also have some information and some functionality that lives outside of Salesforce, so it doesn't have to be on the Salesforce platform. But it gives you the ability to track and manage your deals and contracts in real time. And it saves time by eliminating that manual contract and signature process that we're all too familiar with. You know, print the document, sign it, scan it, attach it back to an email, and send it back to the recipient. Sertifi is going to enable you to keep that functionality entirely in the cloud. Sertifi is also Chatter integrated, and the install and deployment is truly nothing more than 5 minutes of your time inside Salesforce.com to configure the solution. On top of that, we have a very seamless integration between Sertifi and Conga Composer. All right, kind of talking a little bit about how to integrate Conga Composer and Sertifi. Conga Composer is primarily comprised of a custom button inside Salesforce.com. And there's a whole glossary of different solutions and methods in which you can customize the behavior of your Conga Composer solution. In order to affect those, we create these parameters. And so here are the 4 parameters that enable the integration with Sertifi eSignatures. The very first option in the first bullet point in parameter is Sertifi visible equals 1. This parameter exposes a Sertifi button on the Conga Composer user interface and allows you to generate that document and then deliver the file out to Sertifi for e-sign. Sertifi Signer1 email. This enables you to define the email address of the first signer. So if you have access to an email address on your record in Salesforce, whatever record type that might be, that could be an opportunity, it could be a contract, accounts, contacts, custom objects, it makes no difference. All you need to do is pass an email address to this particular parameter, and Conga will define that as the first recipient when creating the Sertifi eSignature record. We also support Sertifi Signer2 email, so if you have more than one signer in the process. Additionally, we can set a carbon copy recipient or Sertifi CC signer email. This is somebody who might need to receive a copy of the signed document, but their signature is not required on the output. So if somebody maybe in legal or accounting just needs to get a copy of that signed contract as part of the workflow, you can include them as a CC recipient throughout this process. And the final parameter, Sertifi file name, allowing you to define the naming convention of the Sertifi eSignature record in Salesforce.com. All right, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and jump into a demo. Right here, I am using a Salesforce opportunity as my example. And I have created a custom button on this opportunity that's going to perform a Conga Composer operation with that integration to Sertifi. So once our page loads here, we'll see that we've got the Conga Composer UI, in which we have a menu of the different templates that I can utilize from this page. I have some merge options. I can create a Word document or an Excel file or PowerPoint, or I can have those converted to a PDF file. So I'll go ahead and select Acrobat. Additionally, I have my contact defined, and this is being pulled from the contact roles on the opportunity. And this comes into play in just a moment because you'll see that when we deliver this document to Sertifi, Paul Gibbons will be our primary recipient and our signer, because he's the intended signer for this operation. So with Conga Composer, if I click Merge, this is going to be a standard operation without an integration first. Conga Composer at this stage is reaching into Salesforce, retrieving all of the information from the opportunity record, from the account, from the contact, the product table, a couple of different custom objects if need be, and gathering that data, merging it to a Microsoft Word template, that's our template type here, and then delivering this document back as a PDF file. So here's our generated output. And we see that it was prepared for, and we've populated the contact information for our primary contact, and prepared by. This is some user information. And we've got some dynamic tables that are expanding and displaying detailed data from the different products related to this opportunity and grouping them by product family and subtotals. Looks all fine and well. And we've got a nice logo from everyone's favorite Y2K organization, our friends at Initech. So now I'm pleased with the output. I've got all the right information in the right places, and I want to deliver this for signature to my primary contact, Mr. Gibbons. By clicking Sertifi, instead of delivering the document back through the browser like we did a moment ago, Conga Composer is going to perform the merge and deliver the document onto the Sertifi eSignature record. So we've created, with one button click, a Sertifi folder. We've defined the naming convention of that folder and set the recipients that need to, in this situation, sign and also a carbon copy recipient here. If I click Next, we've already attached a document for signature. So this is the Conga Composer created PDF file, and it's automatically attached to this record. Send for signature. It was just that easy. So with 3 clicks of the mouse, that Certify button on the Conga Composer UI, and then 2 more, Next and Send from Certify, we've delivered a document out for signature. So I'm lucky enough to have access to Mr. Gibbons' email. So let's go take a look at what's been sent and what was delivered from Certify. So here's our Initech email. And right here at the top, we've got some documents for signature. And this is the one that was delivered just a moment ago, so 4:11 p.m. And we see that we've received this email, and I've got instructions to click here to review our document. So Certify has generated this email, delivered it to our recipient, and the recipient can now make any comments. And post comments and have an active dialogue. But now I'm ready to go ahead and sign that document. You'll see here I've got review and sign. This is the document that's been generated by Conga Composer. And here at the bottom, blow this up just a little bit so folks can see, we have instructions to sign here. So if I click inside that box, you can sign that document. And we're requesting that the signer provide their title. And at the bottom of the page, I have this link or checkbox that says, I'm applying my signature, and I'm going to go ahead and submit that electronically. That's it. So at that point, we've generated a document, delivered the document via Certify for signature, signed that document, and now we can return to Salesforce. If I refresh my page, I have a list related to this opportunity called Certify e-contracts. And this is the different agreements that have been sent out today. And this one was this morning. I'm going to go ahead and jump back. We'll go with the bottom one here, which is the one that was sent just a moment ago, here at 4:13. And we see that the document's been signed. We can take a look and retrieve that document for use at a later date and time. So we can print it, download it, do what we need to from here. And we see all of the activities and the history of that document as tracked directly inside Salesforce. So we see that the sender sent the document to P. Gibbons. The signer accessed the room, so Peter Gibbons, or Paul Gibbons in our situation, opened up the contract, and this is the IP address for that activity, added a comment, signed the document, and then we see that that signature has now been received back in the Certify system and also updated here in Salesforce. So how did all of these components come together? Well, back in our PowerPoint, I talked a bit about the integration parameters. The way that Conga Composer is generally constructed and configured in Salesforce is by the creation of a custom button on an object. And this right here is our custom button. So if I go into Salesforce Setup, log into or scroll down to Opportunities, Buttons and Links, and create a custom button, we have a Conga Composer button. These first 4 lines are going to be standard for every Conga Composer operation. The only thing that might ever change might be this value. If I'm on an opportunity, I'd use the opportunity ID. If I'm on an account ID, and so forth. These 2 components right here are simply calling out the template. This is where my Word document for my proposal lives inside Salesforce. And this is just a little template group that's restricting my view so you don't see all 65 templates I have inside this instance. The real meat of our integration with Sertifi, though, lives in these 4 parameters. And these are the ones I talked about back on the PowerPoint. Sertifi visible equals 1. This parameter is the parameter that is enabling that Sertifi button on the Conga Composer user interface. So when I click this button, you see right here I've got that button for Sertifi. And that visible equals 1 is what toggles on that solution. Sertifi signer 1 email. This is that parameter that's defining who is the first signer of this document. Remember, we also support signer 2 email if you would like. So you could use 2 recipients if there needs to be a signer and a countersigner in any workflow or solution. Additionally, we have Sertifi CC signer email. This is that other email address that we might want carbon copied on this process. So it could be, again, someone in legal, somebody in your contracts management department, accounting, whoever might need to see a copy of this document, but their signature is not really required. And our final parameter, Sertifi file name, which allows you to define that naming convention of the generated process. So why don't I make a very quick change? I'm going to actually modify my file name and add a little component here. We'll say this is the PM demo and save. So I've made a very minimal modification, but we'll see how that impacts our process when I walk through this one more time. So I'm going to click that Conga to Sertifi button. Click Sertifi. We're delivering the document, performing the merge, rendering the file, delivering that file back into the Sertifi environment for Salesforce. We've defined our signers once again. Mr. Gibbons has been bombarded today. That's okay. Click Next. We've got our attached file. This is the file that was generated by Conga Composer. And now I'm ready to send that for signature. Now when I return to my opportunity, down here in my Sertifi e-contracts, you now see that my change in that button is immediately reflected inside here. So we added that PM demo to my record, so I know that this is the one that we were working with. The current status is open, so this has not yet been viewed or signed, any of that. And you can see that here in the activity history. So the signer has been invited to sign this. And now if we go out to Mr. Gibbons' email, we see that there's a new record, and we can sign the file for the document one more time. We can sign that. I'm applying my signature and submit it electronically. Returning to this record, right now we have 2 e-contract activities, but let's refresh this page. We see that that's now expanded out to 4, so that we see that the signer has accessed the document. Let's refresh this again. I believe it takes just a moment for the systems to sync up and update. But now we've got greater than 5, and we see that that additional activity has now been signed and the signatures have been received inside the system. So absolutely instantaneous visibility of those documents and that contract management inside Salesforce. and everything now is related back to the appropriate opportunity and can be retrieved at a later date very easily for handling internally. So with that, I have pretty much reached the end of my demonstration. The parameters are very, very straightforward, very easy customization, and Sertifi is very easy to configure and set up inside Salesforce. It's truly no more than a 5 to 10 minute process. And anybody who is a system admin should have great success and be sending documents for signature within a matter of minutes. All right. With that, I'm going to hand things back over to Teresa and help accommodate any Q&A that might have arose while we're presenting.
Thanks, Peter. We did have a couple of questions. Is there a limit in the number of documents you can merge?
There is a limit within Conga Composer. Conga Composer can merge up to 10 documents in a single merge operation. So we can have a lot of complexity and be able to pull information from a lot of different objects. We are going to be limited to the 10 total files aggregated into a single output.
Okay, great. And where might I find support?
So support, I have actually another slide here for different resources around both Conga Composer and Sertifi. Congamerge.com/support is our main support page for Conga Composer. There you can find a knowledge base, extensive documentation, a link to our YouTube channel, along with some additional quick start guides, sample templates, a whole myriad of different resources that can be found there on our web page. Additionally, you can always reach out to our team for phone support at 303-465-1616 or just email us support@congamerge.com. Additionally, Sertifi has some resources on their Sertifi for Salesforce page. So if you go to sertifi.com and then click on support, and also you can check out information under their developer zone, which has some additional documentation, getting started guides, and FAQs.
Okay, great. Thanks, Peter. I wanted to thank everyone for attending. You will receive a follow-up email with links to the agenda, recording, and FAQs. You can also go to our knowledge base and search for the term archive. As always, it's great to have everyone on the webinar. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you have a great day.